Hey, what's going on, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Nicholas Kid. Thank you so much for watching today's video. A very good afternoon to whoever's watching at home or in school, I don't know. Today I'm going to talk about women's rights and freedom in Bangladesh. So this is to raise awareness of the ongoing gender discrimination that is happening in Bangladesh. And the purpose of creating this documentary is to inspire and try to influence you to think in a different perspective. Throughout this documentary, hopefully you will learn that it is not wrong to express yourself despite how the world thinks. Women in Bangladesh, they suffer the lack of empowerment, and to prove if one does not stand up and express, you're forever going to be dominated and controlled by someone who has a higher power or authority. The women in Bangladesh have lost their rights and freedom. Now, to see how aware our society is, I've conducted a survey and also accumulated a total of 70 responses from my participants. So thank you so much if you're one of the participants that helped me accomplish this mission here. So in this chart right here, we have 62.9% male and 37.1% female from the total 70% responses. And 15 to 19 years old are 28.6%, 20 to 25 years old 7.1%, 26 to 30 years old 4.3%, and for everyone who are above 30 years old, we have a 60% rate on that. So from this survey, I've discovered that 44.3% of the people have absolutely no knowledge about the issues that are going on in Bangladesh. They have no idea of what the women are facing and whatnot. 40% have more or less heard of it, maybe through friends, social media, the news. And only 15.7% of the people are well aware of this issue. So what do we learn from here? Not a lot of people are aware. So women are oppressed, exploited, abused, bullied, violated every day within their society. This makes them very vulnerable. The women are being treated very unfairly, and we will go in depth into this later in this documentary. And the word privilege is non-existent. The lack of respect women in Bangladesh received caused them to be powerless and incapable. They are afraid to speak out for their own rights and freedom. There are many underage girls that are lured into prostitution, and some are even kidnapped and sold as slaves. So these poor girls are forced to do the things that are against their will, doing something that they are not proud of. So I've asked my participants in my survey of what they think of that these poor women are forced to do things that are against their will. So I've got many pretty good responses, so here they are. They say, "A disgrace to humanity. I'm definitely against it. It's not morally or ethically right and should not be lawfully right either. The girls should be educated to be aware of the tricks and laws should be imposed against it. Girls should be given the right education and be taught of women's rights. The girls need to be more educated so that they won't be easily tricked and lured into prostitution. Education should be given to these girls to lessen the chance of them going into prostitution. I think it's completely unacceptable and violates their free will. They should never be forced to do something against their will." Now hold on for a second. What we can see generally from the responses is that girls this and girls that. Girls should be taught to be educated, girls should know better to not fall into these tricks. But what about men? Like seriously, most of these issues actually are not the fault of these poor girls here. They it doesn't really matter whether if they're educated or not. It's not their fault. I mean, these issues are created by these demonic men, right? So shouldn't men be the ones to be educated instead? So I've got this really cool response right here. So he or she says, it's not any of the girls' fault. Many people might think we should educate the girls so they can learn to avoid such things from happening. Which is true, right? This is what we've been seeing all this while. Okay, sorry, continuing. But it's more effective if the government were to educate both men and women. This is absolutely right. I salute you. Yep, I definitely agree because I believe that men are not the only one who abducts these young little girls. Women, some of the women are also part of this. So because if you sell these girls, you actually earn money. So that's where the craving comes from. Okay, so we have also got this last quote right here. So she says, ignorance and selfishness beyond imagination. The government should create awareness and educate men to respect women and treat all as their mothers and sisters. Right there in the heart. So we're right here, like knowing what's going on, briefly in Bangladesh. You know what? Let's go in depth. Let's unveil the truth. So these young girls are tricked into prostitution with the promise of a good paying job, such as working maybe in the garment factory. Yeah, so I mean that's a good job compared to being as a prostitute. So they're deluded by these wonderful opportunities. That's why they fall for it so easily. Some they actually go all out, to search for these jobs because just to feed home and support family due to the extreme poverty. And some are actually knowingly sold by desperate families to the brothel because they're in need of money, and without money there'll be no food. No food, die. And last but not least, this is one of the worst tactics you can ever lure or trick a young girl into prostitution. So the girl falls in love with a guy that promises to marry her, but instead, in the end, the guy sells her to the brothel in return for money. Like, are you serious, bruh? Is that really what mankind is doing right now? Selling girls by promising to marry them? Like, you're playing with their feelings, and it's just really difficult to process. I know I've mentioned this over and over, but there are a lot of underage girls in Bangladesh that are working as prostitutes. The age varies between 13 and 14. That is the time where they are being forced to be prostitutes. It's because men in Bangladesh, they have a preference for younger girls, and therefore they will pay for a higher price to have these younger girls, underage girls, provide sexual services to them. So of course, paying a higher price will increase the economy, and this leads to the brothel into searching for more younger girls to get into this industry. These underage girls are forced to take drugs such as a steroid named Oragdesone. I think that's how it's pronounced. So this drug here, it fattens their cows, so underage girls will look more mature and curvaceous, therefore increasing their attraction to clients. This drug here causes painful side effects, headaches, and skin rashes. And also, it's harmful in the long run. It could be deadly. What? And these young girls are forced to take the drug. And if they refuse or deny, they will be beaten or abused by their madams, which are the ones that are in control of them. Daulat Dia is the largest brothel in Dhaka, Bangladesh, and it's one of the largest brothel and biggest in the world. That's not something to be proud of. This brothel here has serviced more than 6 decades, 60 years, pleasuring up to 3,000 men per day. Yes, I repeat, per day. 3,000 men per day. There are a total of 1,300 sex workers, 900 children, and about 500 shopkeepers. So this brothel is so big and successful that they even built and established their own economy. Right now, in the brothel itself, they have tailors, beauty shops, cigarette shops, phone shops, and food stores. Wow. So can you imagine a brothel running for 60 years without complications from the government or police? That just sounds fishy and weird. So for the survey that I conducted, I asked my participants whether or not they think the government is corrupted. So only 10% out of all my 70 responses said that the government is not corrupted, and the rest, 90%, thinks that the government is. So to give you a little bit of backstory in Bangladesh, back in 1971, during the Indo-Pakistani War, so women were silenced and disregarded by the society. Women were raped to signify dominance, control, and power. They were physically and mentally abused. So if I ask you, do you think the history and the current events happening right now are in any way related? So I've asked this question to my fellow participants of my survey. 51.5% of my participants think that there is a relation between the past and the present, and 31.8% thinks that there may be a relation, and only 16.7% thinks that it might just be a coincidence. So what do you think? Do you think, back when women were raped and or whatnot, are they related to whatever the current issues that is happening right now in Bangladesh? And lastly, the low price of sexual services provided in Bangladesh completely degrades and demoralizes women's integrity and values. Do you know how much the starting price of finding a prostitute in Bangladesh? Have a wild guess. Okay, done? Alright, so you'll be surprised actually. The starting price from the lowest is about 200 taka, which amounts to 2.54 USD. Whoa, it's similar to the price of a meal. Can you imagine the women's value there in Bangladesh? Alright, ladies and gentlemen, we have come to a very end of my documentary. So until this very day, Bangladeshi women are still constantly bullied, abused, and sexually violated every day. So they must know that it's not wrong to come out and express themselves, to fight for their rights and freedom that they deserve, because these are the things that they have, and it's now the time to fight and to retrieve what they once had. What happened to women's rights and freedom that everybody in the society keeps talking about? Many people globally, we have to be more aware that young girls have absolutely no reason to be kidnapped, lured, tricked into prostitution against their will. This is absolutely unacceptable, and this has to stop right now, right at this second. This cannot go on any longer. So I urge you to, of course, spread this out, and do not be afraid. Do not be afraid of the fear. If you want to voice out, go ahead.
6.5 hours later.
So I think that's pretty much it. It's right now 11:59 p.m. Okay, going to sleep now. Bye guys. Thank you so much for watching.
2,000 years later.
Hi guys, it's almost 3:45 a.m. I'm almost done. I'm like 3/4 editing. I'm almost there. Almost there.
Alright, for real. Bye.